Hello, my loves. Welcome into this video for the new moon in Scorpio solar eclipse. I'm so excited to get started here on this journey. First things first, if you are new, hi, welcome in. It's nice to see you. It's nice to have you here. I do have a tutorial video, how to get the most out of these readings with my tips and tricks and how to engage with this material and your spiritual support team as we receive this guidance. You can watch that video if you feel called, if it feels supportive. It's not necessary, but it is there for you if it feels good to you. For those who are not new, hello, y'all. How are you? It's good to have you back here. Thank you so much for being here. As you hopefully already know, it is a pleasure to be offering this service to you, this guidance, this self-understanding through astrology, this connecting with our spiritual support team, our inner knowing through the spiritual sacred tools of the cards. And it's an honor and a joy, and I am so lit up by this Scorpio solar eclipse, and I'm excited to jump in and talk about it. So first, let's talk about new moon energy. New moons always represent for us new beginnings. New cycles are starting. The cycle that's starting is always under the theme of the sign that it's in, and it relates to the house that this energy is happening for us. We'll get more in depth with that house energies in just a moment. So the energy that this new moon is happening in is in the sign of Scorpio. So Scorpio is a fixed sign, which means that it is an unchanging energy. It's also a water sign, which represents the emotional realm. So essentially, the Scorpion energy is fixed water, unchanging emotions. That's this energy of the Scorpion archetype. Now, the Scorpion is the totem of the Scorpio energy, and it represents this deep dive into deep knowledge, into deep knowing, that relentless search for truth, diving deep into the core of who we are, why we're here, and really understanding that on a deep, deep level. The Scorpion energy also has this energy of flying high, like an eagle or like a phoenix, because it has this transformative nature. The Scorpio season happens during All Hallows Eve, which is when the veil is the thinnest between our world and the other side, and it represents this death and rebirth energy. So if you didn't watch the readings for the solar season in Scorpio, where we dive into where Scorpio is occurring in your own chart and you learn more about how to embody that energy and we get guidance from our support team, I recommend you check out that video after these videos if that feels good and right to you. Now, let's talk about eclipse energy. So the normal lunar phase, lunar cycle is 28 days. From one new moon to another, or one full moon to the next. Eclipse energies last us for 6 months. So this is a new beginning that we're going to see unfold and experience unfolding over the course of 6 months. This eclipse is referencing the lunar eclipse when the moon was full in Scorpio 6 months earlier on May 16th. So this energy here is a culmination of 6 months prior. I did a reading for that eclipse, and I will be reviewing the information that came through from that reading at the end of the videos. So this cycle is going to go from October 25th, which is when this eclipse happens, at 6:49 in the morning, that's Eastern time. And this energy, like I said, is going to be potent for 6 months. So it's going to last until May 5th, 23, which is going to be another lunar eclipse in Scorpio. More time to focus on this energy and utilize these powerful eclipse portals to move us forward in our personal goals and in our collective goals. Now, before we dive deep into this energy, into this information that's coming through here, I want to take a moment to talk about a cycle that's much, much larger that I haven't really talked about before this moment. So we are in a cycle called the Great Year. And some of you may have heard of this through the age of Aquarius. We're moving out of the age of Pisces and we're moving into the age of Aquarius. The Great Year actually goes backwards in the zodiac. So the energy of Aquarius is humanitarian focused. So overarching all of the work that we're doing right now is this energy of supporting humanity, supporting the collective, becoming a united, collaborative species. That's the overall theme of all of this energy and all of this work that we are doing on individual levels. It's permeating out into the collective. So this Scorpio new moon solar eclipse wanted me to connect with you and show you the power of prayer. So it doesn't matter what your spiritual beliefs are. You could call this an affirmation. You could call this an intention. You could call this a prayer, a meditation. The word that you use to describe what we're going to do here in just a moment is up to you to determine. And you can work with your spiritual support team in ways that feel good and right for you. But what I was receiving was that this powerful solar eclipse is a moment for us to make a wish, to start something new. And I'm inviting all of us watching these videos to take a moment and to set aside our personal goals, our personal life, whatever's going on an individual basis, and set a prayer, set an intention for humanity with this solar eclipse. My prayer, my intention is that our entire human family wake up to the truth of our collaborative, loving, and selfless natures. This is actually something that I've been learning about scientifically. It is proven, and there is an explanation for why we as a species have been so angry, alienated, competitive, and egocentric, despite our natural desires to be cooperative, to be loving, and to act in service of the whole. So this is my intention and my prayer. I'm going to read what's called the Ho'oponopono prayer. And I invite you to say this prayer with me and hold this intention for our human collective. Again, holding the intention that we all wake up to the truth within us, to our own natures of being collaborative, cooperative, and loving towards our human family as a whole. Here's the prayer. Father, mother, child, as one, if I, my family, relatives, and ancestors have offended you, your family, your relatives, and ancestors, in thoughts, words, deeds, and actions, from the beginning of creation to the present, we ask your forgiveness. Let's cleanse, purify, release, cut all the negative memories, blocks, energies, and vibrations. Let's transmute these unwanted energies into pure light. And it is said, it is done, and set free. Thank you all for joining me in this collective intention and prayer. I don't normally do this in my videos, but I was really guided to do this. Another reason I think I'm guided to do this is because, as I mentioned, the Scorpio energy is the thinning of the veil. This is the time for us to connect to our ancestors, the ones who did all of this work to get us where we are so that we could wake up to the beautiful freedom and truth of what it is to be a human living in cooperation with other humans on this earth. This is what the age of Aquarius promises us. And each phase that we go through is helping us to move closer and closer to this reality, bringing it into form. So back to the readings. How do you know which reading is for you? Well, you are going to have two readings. You're going to first watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born. So if you don't know your birth chart information, this is the time for you to watch my tutorial video on how to find your birth chart information on astro.com. You go to that site, enter in your birth data. If you don't know your birth time, please don't stop there. I have a tutorial video linked in that video that'll tell you how to find your birth time so that you can access this all-powerful information of the vibration that was in play the moment you took your first breath in this life. So you're going to watch the interpretation for where the moon was when you were born, and you're also going to check in to see what house this current eclipse is happening for you. So how do you find that out? I'll explain that in the video, so if you don't know, watch that video too. But you're going to look for where Scorpio, symbolized by the M with the little pointy tail, occurs at 2 degrees exactly in 2 degrees, okay? And whatever house that's in, you're going to also watch the video for the house reading. Now, of course, you can skip through the introduction once you've watched it once, and you can skip through where it says house interpretation. Watch the card reading and then scroll ahead. Okay, I do timestamps on these videos to help you guys scroll through the information that you don't need or that is repeat, and help you to get the most out of this information and not waste any of your time. Okay? If after watching the tutorial video you have questions on how to find this information and what video is right for you, please feel free to reach out. So if you feel called to support me for this information, for this guidance, for the way that it supports you, you can do that in so many ways. You can like, you can comment, you can engage with this material, which helps get me out to more people. You can share this with anyone you think would find it interesting and valuable. And of course, you can support me in my services. I have a weekly chakra meditation service on WhatsApp. It's only $14.40 a month. You can go to devotedandvulnerable.com/services to sign up for that. I also offer chart readings on that website at that same address, so you can go there. And if you just feel called to offer me a financial contribution out of the goodness of your heart and it feels aligned to you, you can do that at paypal.me/devotedvulnerable. Link is in the description. So we are going to be getting guidance from the Angel Therapy deck by Doreen Virtue. And we are ready to dive into what our spiritual support team wants us to know about the new beginnings we are starting in the next 6 months. So this reading is for you if the moon was in Aquarius when you were born, and or if this 2 degrees of Scorpio new moon solar eclipse occurs in your 11th house. If you haven't already called in your spiritual support team, opened your heart to receiving the guidance that's most aligned for you, and taken a few deep breaths, I invite you to do that now. Pause if you need more time. We're just looking for what advice wants to come through here for you for the next 6 months. God box. Here we go. Write any worries, concerns, or desires on a piece of paper that you put into a special container called a God box as a way of letting go and allowing the divine to help you. Okay, so for both of you, this is a process that I invite you to do with the eclipse as close to the eclipse day, the 25th of October, as you can. If you are watching this at a later time, just do this whenever you can, okay? This is a powerful, powerful practice of releasing everything that is concerning you and everything that you desire into a God box, and letting it go to the divine, your support team, just giving it away to them so that you don't carry it with you through the next 6 months. Let me get into how this relates to the moon alignment, and then we will talk about the house. So if you're here for the house, scroll ahead. First, I'm going to talk about what Moon in Aquarius is and do an overview of that. So if you're already familiar with your moon energy, you can scroll ahead. The moon represents our emotions. And where the moon occurs in our chart, the sign that it's in represents how our emotions express. So your emotions express themselves through the Aquarian archetype. Aquarian energy is fixed and unchanging, meaning that it represents the fullness of a season. It represents the fullness of winter in the northern hemisphere. And its element is air, which represents the mental sphere. The archetype of Aquarius is the water bearer, which sometimes people think it's a water sign because of that. But if you think about it, on our planet, the way that the water moves around the planet is through the air, right? Through the rain. So air actually brings the water around the planet. And I talked in the beginning about this being the age of Aquarius. So this is a very important time for this energy to be celebrated. You should know that deep within your energetic makeup, that your emotions are leading the way for this new age, which is going to last almost 2,000 years, by the way. So you may find that your emotions are humanitarian focused, very original, very clever, very inventive, and very rebellious. Aquarius energies like to do things differently than the societal norm. Okay. So how does this relate to your God box? Well, let's talk about the fixed energy, the fixed mentalities, unchanging mental sphere. So you may be stuck someplace mentally and in your emotions, but like you may be thinking about emotions and stuck in a place like in your head when it comes to your emotions. And that may be something you need to put in the God box. There may be an emotional desire that you have that you need to put in the God box. Definitely do this with the eclipse. You will see such amazing, powerful magic coming through, especially since Scorpio has to deal with magic as an archetype. This is really simple advice. I can't really talk about it too much because it's so simple, and it's okay for the next 6 months you're going to do that. So anytime you find something that you need to put in the God box, put it in. Like, this is a good example of something that could be a God box. Okay, can you see it? It's just a cute little chest here. So I could just write on a sheet of paper and put it in my little God box and just seal it up. Okay? Not look at it. Imagine myself handing this box in the meditation on the eclipse to my support team. Or anytime that I need to, anytime I put something in, just imagine myself handing it over, or just even doing this energy, like just handing it over. It's done. Okay? This is an example of a God box. Let yourself be guided to where your God box is, what your God box is, and how to utilize it. This is such a cute example. Like, I want to give this to somebody who needs one, but I kind of want to keep it. Okay. This is, you might find where your worries and your desires are most important for you to put into that box through looking at the house that this 2 degrees Scorpio solar eclipse is happening in. So go ahead and watch that reading. And just remember that this God box energy also applies to that area of your life. And whatever advice is also coming through there. Until then, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste. All right, my 11th house loves. We're going to talk about the 11th house first. If you're familiar with this energy, you can scroll ahead to the interpretation. So what does the 11th house represent? The 11th house represents the house of friendship. Basically, the 11th house is the area of our life that holds and deals with all relationships that are more than one. So community, groups, charity work. Your wishes are also part of this because the 11th house is ruled by Aquarius, which is the energy of this humanitarianism, and also why humanity is a theme of the 11th house as well. So all of the wishes, desires, and anxieties that you have about community, about charity work, about humanity, it's going to go in the God box. Give it away. Put it in the God box. I was showing the Moon in Aquarius my little box here. Isn't it beautiful? It's a cute little chest. Makes a perfect little God box. Okay, I have little gemstones in there now. But this would be an example of something that would work really well. So let yourself be guided to what box in your home wants to be used as your God box. You might want to create one, putting little like elements of your support team around in the box, like pictures of your ancestors if you go to your ancestors for support, drawings of angels or the color of angels or gemstones or whatever you want to do. Have fun with this God box, and as close as you can to the eclipse date, go ahead and put the things in your God box. And for the next 6 months, any concerns, worries, desires that you have for you and groups of more than one, like, groups of, I guess, 2 or more. No, 3 or more. So groups of 3 or more, including you. You're going to put anything for the next 6 months in your God box. Any worry, any desire, you're going to put it in there. And when you put it in there, the key is to let it go. I don't know if you guys have seen the meme of the guy, like, creeping around the corner and, like, being like, oh, it's just me, God, like, checking in to see how things are working. And when I say God, please know that this word means for you your spiritual support team. Whatever name you have for that, okay? So just because it says God box, you could call it spiritual support team box. It's just longer and harder to say. Okay? That's your advice and guidance. It's super easy. It's super fun. I'm excited for you and this guidance. Obviously, your emotional reading that came through is also relevant for all of your relationships that involve you and 2 or more people. So get clarity in your own being about how your emotional energies and your advice relates to this area of your life. And know that you are receiving new beginnings in friendship, with community, with groups, with charity, with humanity. We need to work together as a human collective. That's part of what that prayer was at the beginning. This is going to be activated with the solar eclipse. I know it. I'm showing you guys the power of prayer just through this intention that we're holding in this small group of people who watch these videos. And you're going to see just how magical these eclipse energies are going to be. And I'm excited. Okay. Oh, we're not done. I forgot to review. So back 6 months ago, I only did a reading for the houses for this lunar eclipse that happened back then in Scorpio. So I'm going to read the advice that came through and review this, but you can go ahead and watch that reading if you want to learn more. Back then I said that this was going to be a year-long cycle because we are going to be receiving a repeat of these cycles in a year from now. Well, 6 months from now, in May 2023. The angel therapy card you got was, you are profoundly clairvoyant, which means you can see things. It means to trust the things you see with your inner sight. And you got the 7 of air, which meant that there was dishonesty around you, and you were trusting the things you saw with your sight to reveal to you where the dishonesty was. Okay, especially in groups, community area. And with that, I am complete. As always, namaste. The universal light within me salutes and honors the universal light within you. Namaste.